The show's being brought to you by Cowgirls Live, Monday nights at 10 p.m. on this station. Be sure to tune in. Cowgirls Live, Monday nights at 10 p.m. Sarah is the host. She does a fantastic job. And so I'm going to try to pull up on my laptop, not my laptop, on my iPad here, this broadcast so that I can keep an eye out in the chat. And we're going to have an interesting discussion, I think, today. It's live Monday night. We're going to have some fun with this one. I was contacted recently, actually just yesterday, by a subscriber and a viewer, and they asked me if I would sell this Grand Seiko stunner, this 18 karat gold stunner. Let's look at the side view of that case. Look at the shape of that case. How gorgeous is that? And it has an 18 karat gold buckle on it as well. It's got the Grand Seiko buckle on it. And so he's seen some of my broadcasts, and he's seen this watch, and he asked me if I would sell it. And so we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about selling watches, buying watches. We're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, the pitfalls, and different things along this subject matter. And we'll talk specifically about this particular watch. And David is in the house. Scott S.J. is in the house. And before we get into the topic of buying or selling a watch or whatever, we're going to address a comment that I got on a recent video that I did about cleaning up some boat shoes. And I used some saddle soap, and I cleaned them up, and then I put a fresh coat of Picard leather dressing on them, and they looked fantastic. As a matter of fact, I'll show a picture of what they look like after I was finished. So there they are, and this photo's up on my Flickr stream, so if folks want to go and see, they can go take a look at how beautiful these came out. These are made by Gonki. Orvis sells them. Orvis owns Gonki. They bought them. And Gonki's up in Tipton, Missouri, Tipton, Missouri. And like I said, I did a video. These are about 10 years old or so. I did a video of me. They were pretty grimy, pretty dirty. I did a video of me using some saddle soap and cleaning them up. And what I used was, I think I mentioned it in the video here. Let me see if I can find the... Okay, so I used... Fiebing's Fiebings saddle soap. They've been around forever. And then I used the Picard. And so some wise ass, I might as well say it, makes this comment. And this sort of thing is interesting because here's somebody, I probably have shoes that are older than him, okay? I'm pretty sure I probably do. As a matter of fact, this jacket is probably older than him. And so he makes the comment, he says, "Hey, Craig, presenting yourself as a man of means and luxurious inclinations, you need to use Sapphire products and not the shit you used." So here's the deal. I'll address a couple of those. There's a couple of points in there. Man of means, I don't know that I ever said that. I've done okay for myself. I've got some decent investments and so forth, but I wouldn't call myself rich by any means or wealthy. I just have taken care of myself financially, and I'll probably be okay. I say probably because folks can come along and take your money, especially the government, whenever they feel like it, so you never know. But you know, I'm doing okay. Luxurious inclinations, he says. Luxurious inclinations. Well, okay, but here's the deal on that. I also like to be very thrifty. I also like to get a lot for my money. And I've said many times on this channel, I'm not going to pay for a brand name if I have to pay more for that brand name and I feel like I'm getting less. For example, if I'm buying a pair of shoes and I can buy a pair of Church's custom grade shoes, of course this was back in the day, I don't know if they're as good now, but And let's say I spend $500 for that pair of shoes, and they work out for me, and they're great shoes. I'd rather do that than spend $2,500 for some Italian brand, maybe even some Gucci's or something that are priced way up there that might not be any better. So I'm very discriminating as far as what I buy. And this watch on my wrist is a perfect example as well. This Grand Seiko Diver I bought for probably half of what I would have had to have paid for a Submariner, and I think it's a better watch. Now, some other people might not agree with that, but I believe it's a better watch, and I believe it's a better value, and it meets my needs, and so on. So I think I practice a good deal of thrift, to tell you the truth. And I buy items that will last, and I keep them for a very long time. Some of the shoes that I have are a perfect example of that. And I'll go to one more pair here while we're talking about this. This was another example of these kangaroo leather boots that I've literally had since the early 80s. And they've been resold a couple times, and they're still in great shape. So the materials that I use, the products that I use to take care of my shoes, they've done a pretty good job, thank you. So, so there's all that. Okay, so let's see what else here. Utah checking. Johnny Utah checking in. And Vegas is in the house. Okay, so here's the question for the show today. I had a subscriber ask about buying this watch, my gold GS dress watch, 35 millimeters, 10 millimeters thick. And by the way, the dial on this watch is about the same size as a 36 mil Datejust. As a matter of fact, I think it might be even a little bit bigger. I added this to my website. Let me see if I can pull it up and tell you the exact numbers here, because I thought this was very interesting when it comes to dial sizes. These were some very interesting numbers, and I'll show you when I get it here on the laptop. Okay, so this is at the bottom of my Grand Seiko page on my website, watch dial sizes. As a reference, a USA quarter is 24.5 millimeters. Okay, so remember that. A quarter is 24.5 millimeters across, right? The Rolex Datejust 36 model is 28 millimeters, the dial size. The Rolex Submariner 40 mil is 29.5 millimeters. So you gain 1.5 millimeters, because remember, it's got the bezel that's using up some of that 40 millimeter space. The 18 karat gold GS that I have is 28 millimeters. So it's the same as a Datejust 36. So this dial, the dial size, even though it's a 1 millimeter smaller watch, it's 35 millimeter smaller watch, the dial is the same as a 36 mil Datejust because the bezel around there is not as wide. Okay? So now my diver watch here, it is 32 millimeter. So it's the dial on this is significantly larger than the Submariner was 29.5 millimeters. So it's 29.5 versus 32 mils. Of course, this is a 44 millimeter watch. Okay? So it's interesting about these dial sizes. So that was as an aside. Why would you sell it? It's a very practical watch, just like you are as a person. Tom, very good point. And this is what we're going to talk about. Craig, do your Grand Seikos hold any sentimental value? No, not really. Not really. No, they weren't like given to me by somebody special or anything like that. So there's that. So here was my thought process. He wrote me an email asking me about what I sell it. And I emailed him back. I said, you know, there's a couple of them on eBay. Why don't you just buy one there? And he said he didn't want to take the risk of having it shipped from Japan and take the risk. He said he would rather buy it from somebody here in the U.S. He'd rather buy it from me. So I wrote him back and I said, well, $3,800, because I figure I could buy one for less than that because they're around. Let me pull up what's on eBay right now. Let me go to my watch list here because I added it to the watch list. Oh, I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Let me see here. Should be here somewhere. Anyway, I think it was around $36.50 or something like that. What in the heck? Why isn't it coming up? So anyway, when I bought mine, I made an offer. It might even have been the same seller. I'm gonna have to find it. But anyway, it might even have been the same seller. And it was, they were asking about the same price, like $36.50 or something like that. And I made an offer, and I think I bought it for $3,300. I don't remember for sure. I think it was $3,300 including shipping. So, the thought process is, should I sell it and just buy another one? He doesn't want to go through the risk, right? I mean, I didn't find it to be that much of a risk. Oh, actually, it's $3,820. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I think that's what I told him. I think I told him $3,800 in the email. So here's the watch on eBay, right? It's $3,820 or make offer. See, that's the key here. They will take a significantly lower offer because I made an offer on mine and they shipped it, right? And this is the exact same watch. So, and I'm sure the condition is about the same. Looks very nice. It's got the right buckle on it. It's got the exact same strap. I mean, that's the exact same watch. Okay? So, and there the crown is pulled out in that picture. It's not a screw-down crown, by the way. So do I go through the hassle of selling it to him and then buying it back and maybe making, let's say I can get it for $3,300 and I sell it to him for $3,800. So I'm going to make around $500, give or take, Is it worth fooling with it? That's the question, and probably isn't. It probably isn't worth doing the deal. I don't know. What do you guys think? There are obviously risk factors involved in any kind of a transaction. So, all right, let me see what comments we've got in here. Mark checking in, another great show. Thank you for doing it. Why I saw one of the most accurate watch on the planet next to the atomic clock. Good point, Scott S.J. That's 1 Bitcoin. Johnny Utah says, absolutely. I told him he could pay with 1 Bitcoin. 3820 is 1 Bitcoin. Yep, there you go. Craig looking like Dick Tracy tonight. There you go. Well, thank you, Turkey Vulture. This is actually one of my favorite jackets. This is a real oldie but a goodie. It's all cashmere, 100% cashmere, and super comfortable. It's got. I don't like jackets that I can't move easily in. This one I can move easily. There's plenty of room in the sleeves. It's not tight it's not tight anywhere. So, and in this case I have the shirt sleeves rolled up because I'm wearing the diver watch, which of course, as we know, would not fit under the cuff, at least not eloquently, but it works doing it like this. I don't mind doing like this sometimes. So don't sell, Craig. Sell, Barry says. See, that's the other side of the coin here is from back in the day when I bought and sold a lot of cars, a lot of antique and special interest vehicles, when you had a buyer, a bird in the hand, when somebody came to you and wanted to buy that vehicle and was willing to pay the price, you took that deal because otherwise you're trying to sell it and you're trying to get a buyer. When a buyer comes to you and lays down in your lap, the rule generally is take the money, right? So even though I'm not motivated to sell the watch, not in any way, shape, or form, I really like the watch. You know, it's hard to walk a prospect that wants to pay the price for the watch. So that's the upside to selling it. The downside to selling it is, what happens if I make an offer on this watch on eBay and he doesn't take as low an offer as he took last time? It's a gamble. I mean, I don't know if he's going to take the offer. I mean, there's the watch, right, for sale. And if I offer him $3,300, for example, let's say I'd have to offer him $3,250, counting the shipping, $47.60 in shipping. You know, what if he doesn't take it? You know, and I've already sold mine, so I'm taking a risk there. Craig going with a power tie today. Well, there you go. This is another. This is one of my oldest ties too. This is dating from about 1978. Sell it and go all in on a date 36. That's another thing. Okay, so here's the other side of this coin. I thought about that too. Okay, if I sell it and I want to go and I want to buy something else, the problem is you got to put a lot of money with it to buy anything else, to buy anything decent, especially buy something in 18 karat gold. That's the issue here. This is really a pretty good bargain for an 18 karat gold watch. You guys have seen it on wrist a lot of times. It looks great on my wrist. I mean, that's a lot of watch for the money, and I can understand his not wanting to buy it from Japan and not wanting to take that risk. I don't know really how much risk there is, because you get buyer protection on this item through eBay, but that can be a hassle if there's something wrong and you got to put in a claim and all these things. You know, I get it. There is a hassle factor with all that. I'm leaning towards just not doing the deal, period. That's where I'm leaning towards at this point. But I thought it would be a good discussion. Still love the Snowflake. Yep, Snowflake is fantastic. Just purchased a bright red Trump tie. By the way, with ties, Sulka & Company, S-U-L-K-A, you can get them on eBay for pretty good prices. Make sure it's a reputable seller. Make sure you're getting a real one. But you can buy them for 10 or 15 bucks, you know, a tie that would normally be well over $100 on eBay. Sulka & Company, S-U-L-K-A. See, it's a buyer's market for ties because nobody wears ties anymore. So you can buy them cheap. Wouldn't you rather buy a vintage gold, solid gold Omega dress watch? Yeah, here's the downside to that is it's going to be probably an automatic. And so every time I wear it, I'm going to have to set the time. I'm going to have to wind it. That's the big advantage to the quartz, is you just put it on and you just go. So I've thought about that too. I thought about even buying like an old date chest, a solid gold date chest. Sometimes you can get a halfway decent deal on those, especially if you buy one with a leather strap, right, without the bracelet. So that's a possible dress watch too, but again, I'd probably have to pay at least double. Well, maybe not double. I'd probably have to pay around $7,000 for that, I would think, for a decent one. Wouldn't you rather buy a vintage? Okay, we already asked that. Automatic, yeah. Are you really making enough on this deal to justify all this hassle, space time? Probably not. It's probably not worth doing the deal. No, I'm probably going to make less than $500, maybe $400. It's probably not worth fooling with it. All your watch live stream have you second-guessing yourself. You were content with your two-piece collection and bought them for specific reasons. I agree, Tom. Well, here's the thing, though. I think it's good to have, I think it's healthy to have these discussions. And again, this, I didn't bring this up. Somebody made me an offer. Somebody emailed me and made me an offer. And so I just thought it was a good discussion to have, because this sort of thing comes up often in the watch community. Do I sell or do I not sell? And what is involved in going from one watch to another watch? What's the hassle factor, right? I got to ship the watch to somebody. He's got to send me the money. How's he going to send me the money? He's going to PayPal it to me, PayPal friends and family, in which case he's got to trust that then I'm going to send the watch, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. And so I think it's a valid discussion to have, you know, to explore and to just bump it around a little bit. I've ignored fashion for my entire life, but Craig, you moving me in the other direction. It's great to see how quality items hold up over the years, Rick says. Yeah, they do. If you buy high quality stuff in general, it holds up. I think it's worth spending some money, good money, on shoes, especially high-end boat shoes, like or anything made by Russell Moccasin Company, you know, moccasin style construction shoes, very comfortable on your feet. That's what I'm wearing right now, moccasin style construction shoes. It's worth spending a little bit more money. These that I cleaned up, let me bring them up here. They still sell these. Orvis still sells these. They're a little bit less than $300 a pair. And they're well made. They'll last pretty much a lifetime. You might have to have them resold once. But, yeah, you could buy them for $50 in Walmart, made in China, pieces of junk that'll fall apart. Or you can buy something decent and keep it around and have it in rotation for a long, long time. Let's see. Craig, I feel like you will have seller's remorse, Johnny Utah says. Yeah, and I'm taking the risk, like I say, that guy might not take the offer, so I might not be able to get the replacement watch as easily as I think I can get it, right? You have a solid gold 18-karat gold watch that is the most accurate watch in the world, and it costs you only $3,800, and you want to sell it, Spacetime says. Yeah, but like I said, they've got one right here. Whoops. Oh, I got to bring it back up here. I mean, if I can buy it back for less, you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like I'm out the watch. It's right here for sale. See, that's what's confusing to me, is why he just doesn't buy it. It's not that big a risk. They've got buyer protection. It only took about 10 days for it to get here from Japan when I bought mine. The deal went great. So, $3,200, I believe. Yeah, I think you could probably... I think I paid $3,200 plus shipping or something. I paid around $3,200 or $3,300 when I bought mine, and it was I'm sure it was the exact same seller. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that's got this for sale. I wouldn't sell that gold Seiko. It's too nice. Turkey Vulture says. I do not like the Datejust, but I do like the Date 8. But you will not have the accuracy you have now with the GS. And plus, I'm going to have to wind it and start it up every time I use it. Any of you guys on here heard of a website, Time Peaks? I like boat shoes. The ladies like them too. Yankee Doodle says, oh, the ladies. They probably like you more than they like the shoes. I think that, you know, I think it's the guy in the shoes that they like. David Williams, depends on the probability of receiving the 500 plus. Well, I read up on it. If he PayPals friends and family the money to me, I don't think he can reverse that. And then, so I'd have the money for the watch, I'd ship him the watch. Then the question is, can I get the guy on eBay to take the offer again? That is the question. That's the $500 question. So, Japanese sellers are usually very honest and reliable. Purchase many watches from Japan. Yeah, and like I say, I think this is the same guy. I'll have to look up the name, but I'm pretty sure this is the same guy I bought the one I have now from, and he was great. You mentioned that the Japan transaction when you bought it was fairly easy. Yeah, it went very smoothly, and guess what? There were no customs. If they mail it Postal Service, from what I read up and understand, they just don't have enough time to check all the packages. So basically, you end up paying no import duties. Technically, I'm supposed to, contact somebody and say I got this watch and pay some duty, but let's be on the QT on that. Hey, everybody, holding off on the Explorer for a bit, going to actually order a JLC tomorrow instead. Okay. I think it's safer to buy from Japan than China. Oh, I would agree with that. Are you interested in Basel World in 3 weeks? It'll be interesting to see what happens, to see what Rolex does. So, let me think what else. For those of you that came in late, we also talked about this comment from this guy. This was a video I did about cleaning up these shoes, okay? This pair of shoes. I did a video about how I cleaned it up. I used some saddle soap. I used some Phoebing's saddle soap. Let's see if I show it here in the beginning of it. I'll play a little bit of the video. Orvis, and they're made by Gonkey. That's G-O-K-E-Y.
There it is. There's the saddle soap that I used. They've been around forever. And then I used Picard leather dressing afterwards. I put the saddle soap in some hot water and used it. Okay. All right. So anyway, so this guy comes in and makes this comment. He says, and this is for those of you that came in late because we talked about it earlier. He says, "Hey, Craig, presenting yourself as a man of means and luxurious inclinations, you need to use Sapphire products." Oh, did I show that? I'm sorry. I don't know if I had that on the... I don't remember if I switched that. So let me show you. Okay, so again, this is the saddle soap, and then that's the Picard. Let's go back to the saddle soap again. Okay, so there's the saddle soap. Okay, so you saw that. All right, so anyway, so this guy comes in here and comments. He says, "Craig, presenting yourself as a man of means and luxurious inclinations, you need to use Sapphire products," and not that four-letter word stuff you used, right? Sapphire, that they make some stuff for cleaning leather and all, this name brand stuff where they pump up the price and charge you a lot of money, and it probably isn't even as good old-fashioned saddle soap. So I made the comment that this guy that made this comment, the jacket I have on is probably older than him, right? And so I've been using these products, this saddle soap, and I've been using Picard for many, many years. It does a great freaking job. And so I'm not going to spend more money for a product for no real reason. This channel is about doing things smart and about being thrifty and saving money whenever you can. This is not about being frivolous and buying luxurious items just because they have some name to them, right? If I'm going to buy a name brand, it's going to be because I believe in that name brand. For example, Rolex. I believe in Rolex. I believe in Grand Seiko. I think they're great brands, and you get a lot for your money with both of those. Some of these other high-end watches, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that you get a lot for your money with some of these other watches. Let's see here. I think that this piece has earned its place in your permanent collection. Its accuracy and precious metal construction, as well as the design of the piece, go beyond what little money you might make. I agree, Space-Time. I think again, I'm leaning towards just absolutely no deal. I'll consult with him and I'll suggest that he buy it from the gentleman in Japan, but I think I'm just going to keep mine. What are you getting to replace the Grand Seiko, Craig? The Watch Lounge says. Well, one possibility was to just buy the same watch. I mean, here it is for sale and I told him this. It's the same exact watch is for sale with the ivory dial. It's the exact same watch, same strap, same buckle. It's for sale. So I'm pretty sure this is the exact same guy I bought mine from. So I would just buy the watch again. Would probably be the idea, because I can't think of anything I can replace it with that would be 18 karat gold, that would check the boxes I need to check. I think it's the watch. I think I got lucky, to tell you the truth. I think I got the right watch. And that's the other thing with buying and selling watches is I noticed a lot of people in the watch group, community, whatever you want to call it, go through a lot of watches to try to find that watch they really want. And that can be an expensive process. I think I got pretty lucky in that, well, of course, I'd done a lot of research, but when I went over and I saw Steve at Little Treasury and I got this titanium diver, I mean, I couldn't be happier with it. It really is super comfortable on wrist, super legible. I mean, dead accurate. I don't even have to think about messing with the time. I might not even adjust the date when it's only tomorrow's the 1st. I might not even change it because I don't really use this to check the date. So, I mean, it's so accurate. It's within like 3 seconds in like 4 months. I mean, it's insane. And same thing with the stunner there. I mean, it's just like within a few seconds. It's pretty much the way I set it. So I got a good 1-2 punch here of watches. If this watch does not stay in the collection, then it begs the question, what piece ever will? It's not a collection with me. It's a rotation. It's watches that I actually wear. I'm not a collector. I wouldn't call myself a collector at all. Let's see here. So, Tim says sell. Craig, get the Pepsi. I'm on the list for the Pepsi. And see, that's the wild card in this whole thing. If the AD called me tomorrow and said, that's a big if, of course, I've got the Pepsi, then what do? That would really, the plot would thicken. Because the Pepsi could possibly be a one-watch solution. It's 12 mils, right? Thick. It's thin enough that it could probably work as a dress watch. But I still don't think it's going to be elegant like this one. I don't know. I can try to justify it a million ways, but I don't know that I can beat the rotation that I have right now. It's hard to beat my current rotation. Let's see. If you sell in a U.S. clean transaction, you will have the funds to deploy to another watch. Maybe you change your mind, provides you optionality, David says. Well, when you've got money in your hand, you've always got options, but like I say, there aren't that many good options. For an 18 karat gold dress watch, what can you get? I mean, you got to put a bunch more money with it. That's the problem. Seiko Alpinist in green, best watch out there. Now, Doki combined with Seiko and joint venture, produce a limited edition blue, not worth it. Yeah, I heard about that. I saw the watch wrangler talk about all that nonsense. Yeah, I wouldn't play in that sandbox. I wouldn't buy that watch. The titanium GS diver is a great everyday piece. It really is. I mean, it is just super freaking comfortable. It's like it's not even on my wrist right now. And the way they finish the bracelet, with the way that it's nice and rounded on all the edges, nice and soft. Everything that touches your skin is nice and rounded. I mean, even the case, like when you put your wrist up like that, even all this is nice and rounded. Unlike a maxi case that's got all kinds of sharp, slabby edges on it. This has been a fantastic watch, I'm telling you. I mean, it really has. Blue Shirt Buddha's in the house. Hello. Rancher from Oklahoma just did YouTube. Yeah, I saw that one. I saw the video he did. And I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm not a fan of all these limited editions either. And I told the Grand Seiko people the same thing. I said, this every time you turn around, you got a limited edition. Then nothing's limited anymore. If everything's limited, I mean, I don't mind them doing it something if it's like, you know, the 50th and 50-year anniversary, and they come out with an anniversary model to commemorate. If it's something really significant, okay. But every other week, are you kidding me? Did you ever try the Speedmaster Professional? So did you find it too big? Yankee Doodle. No, I didn't try the Speedmaster Professional. I'm not a chronograph fan. I don't really need the stopwatch functionality on my watch, and I really wouldn't use it. For as little as I time things, I can just use the bezel and just rotate it around, do like a 20-minute, you know, if I'm parking at a meter or something and I need to time like 20 minutes or something, I can just use my bezel for that. So I'm not a fan of going for the chronograph. To me, it's just a more complicated, busies up the dial, and it's just something I don't need. But I mean, a lot of people love them, so more power to them. But see, the advantage to this watch is even though it's a 44 mil watch, it really doesn't wear like one. Because of the shape of the lugs, it drapes around the wrist nicely. Now, it's a big watch, don't get me wrong. It's a sport watch, right? I mean, let's face it. But I'm just saying it wears, like I wore the GMT Masters for many years, the 40 mil, the older ones, and it's every bit as comfortable as those were. And those were lighter weight than the new ones out now, you understand. The older GMTs from like 1990, 1985, you know, back when I was wearing them, those were arguably more comfortable than the ones they have now because they were lighter weight. So this is every bit as comfortable as those were. I could see you with the Pepsi, Craig, but then we would reminisce about your old GS days. There you go. Yep. Well, I mean, let's face it. Over the last, like I say, 40 years or so that I've had high-end watches, you know, mainly Rolexes most of that time, I've never kept a watch longer than I did the Date 8. The 18238, I kept it 19 years. That's the longest I've kept any watch. Back in the day, most of the watches I kept about 2 or 3 years. And what would happen is it would usually be a friend of mine that would bug me and want the watch, and I'd end up selling it to him, and then I'd get something else. And so I was fortunate in that I never really had to advertise watches, and of course this was all pre-internet, right? So I was always able to sell the watch fairly easily, and I always got a pretty decent buy on the watch, unless I bought it new. Even if I bought it new, I got a good buy. Like when I bought the white gold Date 8 back in about, I think it was about, let's see, I was working at Capital Porsche Audi in, when was I working there? Was it 2002? Well, no, it wasn't 2002. No, it was way before that. It was 10 years before that. When the hell was I? Let's say, when did the 930 Turbo come out? Man, I'm really losing track of time. But anyway, it was, oh my gosh, that was 1982 maybe. No, it was 1980, I think. Yeah, I think it was 1980. Anyway, I bought a white gold Date 8, and I bought it from an AD, and it had been sitting in their case for like a couple of years. They couldn't sell the damn thing. And this was down in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and it had the list price from 2 years prior. So, you know, they don't increase the list price just because they had it for 2 years. So it was a 2-year-old list price. And then I offered them like something like 40% off that price. And I think it took it down to around $2,000 or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but they shocked me and they took it. I had the cash with me and they took it. And so I ended up with this brand new white gold Date 8 that I really didn't want, but it was such a good buy. And then I wore it for a while, and I actually sold it to the owner. Remember, the reason I remembered it was Capital Porsche Audi days is I ended up selling it to the owner of Capital Porsche Audi when he went out of business. He went belly up, and in all the turmoil and all, he had enough cash to give me for the white gold date 8. So he ended up with that. So yeah, I've always tried to get good buys so that I could then get out of a watch if after I had it for a while and wanted to get into something else. Let's face it, most people care most about resale value once you go above the 1 to 2K price point. Yeah, but I really think that in this day and age, if they're buying a bunch of watches and they're worried about the resale, that worries me that they're tying up too much money in watches. If you just buy one watch and then you're worried about being able to get out of it, I mean, that's one thing. But if you're buying a number of watches on speculation, I think you're potentially digging a hole for yourself. I can see you with the Snowflake instead of that diver. I had the Snowflake. I sold it because it wasn't an all-arounder. It wasn't thin enough to use as a dress watch. That's why I sold it. I was thinking about using it as an all-arounder, but it was not really thin enough for me to use as a dress watch. For other people, fine. Depends on what your shirt cuffs are like. But my shirt cuffs tend to be a little tight. And so it really didn't work for me as an all-arounder. And plus, I didn't like the fact that it didn't have micro adjustments. I like the micro adjustments on this one. Let's see here. You might want to wait for Rolex's announcement at Basel World. There might be a new GMT Master 2 coming. But they're not going to update the Pepsi, I don't think. It's got the new movement and everything. If you go ahead and sell this watch, I'm done with the channel and will only watch Archie Luxury from now on. Space Time says, oh my gosh, okay, that kills it right there. I absolutely can't sell it. It's a keeper. All right, thank you, Space Time. JLC are amazing bang for the buck as far as high horology goes, but you must buy pre-owned. Blue Shirt Buddha says, yeah, but I don't even think I could get a JLC in 18 karat gold anywhere near that price range. You know, let's say $4,000 just to throw out a number. I don't think I could get an 18 karat gold JLC for that kind of money. Say no to Bitcoin and say no to drugs and say yes to GS. Hey, I'm still grabbing up Bitcoin. I'm still acquiring. By the way, folks, don't any of you all buy Bitcoin. Stay on the sideline. Wait until I get all my Bitcoin that I want, okay? And then you guys go ahead and buy, okay? Let's do a gentleman's agreement between us that you guys will wait, and I'll give you the go-ahead when it's time to start buying after I've accumulated everything I want to accumulate. Peacetime. Dave Williams says, optionality allows you to consider other watches which may be more expensive. To not do that is also an option. Well, there you go, David says. Sell or not to sell your 18 karat? Hell no. That is all I have to say. The end. Okay, Joe says no. Jay Sykes, Blue Shirt Buddha. Yes, I agree. I waited and was patient. Sure enough, the Reverso I was looking for became available at quite a good price. There you go. Buy it right. Tim says, great show. The Watch Lounge. I don't see the Rolex shortage slowing down. I'm in the UK, and the ADs are full of Datejust and OPs and odd Air Kings and Milgaus apart from the usual precious metal watches. But I'll tell you what, there's not a damn thing wrong with a Datejust. There's a lot of nice Datejusts. Go out of business and buy your employees date 8. What a story. Yeah, well, you know, sometimes when something like that happens, you know, there's a lot of like a little bit of monkey business going on with cash moving around and all, and sometimes, you know, bizarre things happen. But yeah, that was kind of funny. But he liked the white gold date 8, and so he ended up with it. Let's see. Sounds like you may need to get a 36 millimeter Datejust two-tone. Oh, by the way, do you guys want to see me wearing my first date 8? I dug up a picture from 1982, the other day. Actually, my dad shared it on his Facebook from 1982. And that's the oldest picture that I know of that exists with me actually wearing it. I think I got it in around 1980. But I don't have any pictures going back. Remember, this was before everybody had digital cameras and all that stuff. You know, you had to have a film camera. So, and I never liked being in pictures that much, to tell you the truth. So there aren't really that many pictures of me from back in the day. But I'll show you that picture if you guys want to see it. Put a Y in the chat if you want to see that picture from 1982 with yours truly wearing a date 8. Let's see here. 36 millimeter Datejust two-tone. You can buy them for a good price. Absolutely. I don't buy watches for a mess. I buy them for fun and for the hobby. All hobbies are expensive. I came over from the car hobby that can get really, yeah, absolutely. And these are much easier to store. That's another thing that people with cars, vintage cars, don't calculate in the calculation is, you know, it's not inexpensive to store watches, cars for many years inside. I mean, garage space is expensive. And even you put a 6-car garage on your home, you got to maintain that garage. You got to build it in the first place. I mean, the whole car hobby thing. Of course, the only thing that's a lot more expensive than that is the horse hobby thing. How many times in that 19 years did you service the Date 8? Never. It was never serviced. You don't need to do that. You don't need to service those things. Just wear them. A Tudor, I've got a whole video on servicing these watches and why you shouldn't do it until the watch really needs it, until it starts running slow or something like that. Then take it to Rolex and have them service it. Tudor plus 1 Bitcoin or 1 sports Rolex. JLC Master Ultra Thin Small Seconds. I think you'd love the watch. Yeah, but how much would that be in 18 karat gold? Brian? The less watches in your collection, the more you need versatile pieces. It's actually more challenging to strike the ideal balance than just buying a bunch of watches, Jay Sykes says. I don't know. There are a lot of watches that are pretty versatile. For example, the Datejust we just mentioned. I mean, my gosh, you can wear a Datejust in any situation. You can buy a Date 8 and wear that about anywhere. You can swim with it. I mean, I did everything with my Date 8. I didn't baby the thing. I mean, look at the video of Jack Nicklaus with his Date 8. He wore it all the time for like 50 years. I mean, it's not an issue. Rolex is coming out Ever Rose Samara. See, I wouldn't buy Ever Rose. I think the Ever Rose looks kind of not great. I like the regular 18 karat gold. But as you all know, I'm very old-fashioned and very conservative as far as a lot of stuff goes. It's a good job. I lust for Oyster Perpetual Datejust when I can buy one. I won't have to pay over premium or beg for one. Absolutely. We just looked at one the other day with the newer clasp and everything. A Datejust that was around $5,000. It looked fantastic. And you can get, for as low as $3,000, you can get a decent Datejust. Got some Ys in the chat. I guess that's for the 1982 photo. We'll show that photo. I like the jacket, pocket square tiger that you're wearing today, Chip. Thank you, Thomas. Do you have a beginner's guide to buying Bitcoin? Yeah, Jay, we'll help you out with that. I've got a link actually in the description of this video, CraigShipp.com/downloads. There's a whole section at the bottom of that page, down that page, about Bitcoin, a whole section. And then if you need any help, just email me, and I'd be happy to help you out. No charge. No charge, I'll help you out. Let's see the pic. The pic. Okay, let's get the pic from 1982. Let's see if you guys would even have recognized me. If you guys would even have thought it was even me. Let's see here. There we go. There I am. Let's see if we can see the original size. It's not very big. It's not. Oh, that's the download link. I don't want to do that. I want to say view all sizes. I think that was the original. Yeah, that was the original. So It's not, I got to get the original from my dad and get it scanned. I'm going to get some of those photos from him. They're all slides that he took. He had a slide camera. And that's just a picture of a picture that he did. He projected them up on a wall and took a picture of a picture, so the quality is not there. But that be the date. That had you can't see the clasp on there. That had the conventional clasp. It did not have the hidden clasp. It had the President bracelet with the conventional clasp, which I really liked because it had micro adjustments. So it had a fair amount of bracelet stretch. You can't really tell in that shot, but it still looked great, even with the stretch. I mean, it still looked fantastic. Let's see. You should get rid of your gold GS and buy Archie's Patek he has for sale. I don't like that World Time. That's too busy. I'd get like a Calatrava or something. Archie doesn't care for Rolex Everose either. He finds it a bit coppery. Yeah, I agree. I don't like the looks of it. I mean, I certainly think they're even more money than I certainly wouldn't pay extra to get that color. See, I want it to match like I've got like a gold money clip and stuff. I'd like everything to match, right? Even my pen, you know, like my date matched to this perfectly, right? Because it's just normal gold color, right? So it makes it easier for accessories. Like if you want to have like cufflinks or something, just buy gold and it's all going to pretty much match. But you start mixing in Everose, and then it depends on who did it and what formula they did and all that. Like the Lacoste t-shirt. Yeah, I wore a lot of Lacoste back in the day. We're going to talk about that when I dig out. Next week I'm going to dig out the Preppy Handbook by Lisa Birnbach, and we'll go through the Preppy Handbook. It's a riot, all the stuff she talks about. And me and my buddies, that was 1980 when she came out with that book, and it was funny because a bunch of my buddies went to Georgetown Prep, and they were all laughing, and you know, because a lot of the stuff she said in that book was absolutely true about how the preppies dressed and where they went and where they hung out and all that stuff. And I remember when I went to the book signing, I gave her a DuPont pen, and she signed my friend's book. She didn't sign my book. She signed my friend's book with the DuPont pen, and she said, "Oh, DuPont pens are very nice." And that made me mad because I wanted my book freaking signed. Oh well, I had already bought mine previously, and he was buying his on the spot, so he ended up with the signed book, and I don't even have a signed book out of the whole deal. So that's the way all that worked out. I'm always getting the short end of the stick. Let's see here. And that was back when the Lacoste shirt was made in the United States of America, too. Did you used to go jogging as well as 200 push-ups a day, like you said? I did 3 sets of 100 push-ups. I'm up to, by the way, 40 push-ups for my first set now and 30 for the next 2. I'm slowly working myself up. I'm going to work up to about 50. I think I'm going to do 3 sets of 50. I don't think I'm going to go above 50 this time because I started feeling it in my back. If you're not careful with the push-ups as far as your back, the curvature or whatever, when you got to be like a slab. Anyway, you can kind of tweak your back, and that's why I stopped doing them. For a long time, I stopped doing them. But now I'm getting back where I'm hoping I'll be okay. I'll be able to keep doing them. I do curls with dumbbells, and I do other wrist exercises and all that in case I need to strangle somebody or something. If somebody tries to attack me and I need to, like, you know, really do a number on them. I do a lot of arms and forearm stuff. So, let's see here. I just turned 61, Jarvis. 61. Yesterday. White gold is okay if you want to pair it with silver or steel cufflinks and accessories. Otherwise, go yellow. Absolutely go yellow. No, I wouldn't buy another one. Craig, do you still have the Lacoste? that might be here somewhere. If I went back and dug in the bottom of my closet there, my dresser, it might, that exact one might be in there. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe next week I'll try to dig it out. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it's still in there somewhere. But some of those I did wear out. Let's see here. Rolex tends to attract the wrong demographic. I'd love to get rid of mine, just don't know what to buy instead. Hey, Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko. Don't worry about who else owns a Rolex. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Wear the watch you want. Don't worry about what all these pundits say. Would you consider a Sky Dweller like the Dogman has? I think it's a little bit thick. I think it's thicker than, and it's a little bit big. Isn't it 42 mils? No, I think I would go with a Date 8 every time. I think the Date 8's more appropriate. And I really think for me, the 36 mil Date 8 would get the job done. I don't think I need the 40 mil. I'm going to try them both. When I get to the point where I'm thinking about locking and loading on a Date 8 again, which probably will happen. I've owned like 4 or 5 of them over my life. I'll probably get another one, just the way things go. I will try both. I will really look closely at both the 40 and the 36, and I'll decide which I really think I should get. So that's the deal there. Let's see. Teddy uploaded a video of a gold Patek you would like. Well, there you go. Craig, you need to do some planks to build that core. Well, there you go. I'll have to work on that. I'll tell you though, when you start getting up there, that's where you start having problems. At least my experience is it's the back, the lower back. You got to be careful because you tweak that sucker and it's just not fun stuff. Yeah, fill in those suits and sport coats. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I've got jackets that range anywhere from like 40 to 42, depending on, you know, at what point I was and how much exercise I was doing. You know, it's like the 40s wouldn't fit, right, if I was doing a lot of push-ups and stuff, so they'd be sitting there. And like right now, I could put on one of the 40s and it would pretty much fit. It fit kind of snug. I think the one I was wearing yesterday was 40, a 40 regular. And then I have some that are 41 and some that are 42. So I have some leeway there. But I don't like them to be binding. I like to be able to freely move. You see these suits and these sport coats and all that are real fitted these days. They're really fitted. And especially the ones where they're wearing like the real short, we've talked about this before, the real short sport coats. It almost looks like it's a little kid's coat on them. I think it looks pretty ridiculous, to tell you the truth. I think it looks goofy. And especially when you then throw on a huge watch, right? A huge watch. And they got this real fitted suit. I don't know about all that. Patek 5119J, yeah, sounds nice. For an elegant watch, you can't really beat Breguet. There we go. Put a link in. Let's take a look at that link. Yeah, I don't like the lugs on that watch. I don't like the way it just goes right into the case and there's no taper and all that. I would pass on that one. So there's that. Let me get back in here. What color was the dial on your Date 8? That one in the picture, I believe it was gold. I believe that's what they called it. The most recent one I had was what they called silver. But that one was more of a gold, with gold indices and gold hands. And back then, you know, I had really good eyes and all, so I could read that fine. I didn't need contrast or any of that kind of stuff. When you're young, you can read anything. Sky Dweller's 14 millimeters thick. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'd rather have a 12 mil thick Date 8. Isn't the Date 8 12 mils still? I know it was back in the day, but I don't know how thick they are now. I think they're still around 12. Trying the 41 millimeter Datejust, you'll be pleasantly surprised how nice they wear. Well, because they're nice and thin. I think they're 11.7 mils thin. I think they are. And I think the 41 mil Datejust isn't really 41 mils. I think people have measured it, and it's actually a little under 40. I think that is like a kind of a quirk about those. But that said, the pictures I've seen of people wearing the 41s, it still seems a little bit big for me to use for dress purposes. I still think for dress purposes, a 36 would be for sure way to go, unless you have a really big wrist. But again, if you're wearing it the way I am right now with just a jacket cuff and not worried about the shirt cuff, then the size is not an issue. Size is, then it just comes down to what's comfortable and what you like. Date 840. A wise man once said that getting older sucks. What's your take? Oh my gosh, yes. Don't get older. If you can figure out a way to avoid getting older, absolutely. I wear a fitted suit, but half break on the pants. Okay. Teach their own, I guess. Well, I think we've had a hell of a discussion, and I'm going to have to eat something here pretty soon. But let's take another look at this stunner here before I go. There's that 18 karat gold stunner. And the way the lighting has hit it, you really can't see those. Let me try to tilt it a little bit so you can see really what those indices look like. That really didn't help. It's the lighting. It's the way the lighting is hitting it. They're all look kind of black. You know, that black polishing or whatever. But let me see if I can pull up. You guys have seen. I mean, I got a bunch of pictures of this one, but let me see if I can pull up a quick photo here. I just searched 18K on my Flickr. You guys can do the same thing. That's all I searched was 18K. And there you go. There's a whole bunch of pictures. And this one's pretty good. This one kind of shows really what it looks like. And you guys have seen it on wrist a bunch of times. It really is a sleeper. You know, they're very rare in this country. They never sold this model in this country. And see how the case, see how the lugs are shaped, that nice curvature. See, that's what I like. I don't like lugs that come like straight off the case or and are real squared off. And some of those, you know, the lugs, some of the Patek Philippe's have lugs that are literally like welded on, and then they, you know, smooth out the weld. And I think they look clunky. I like this style. And they have some Calatravas that are very much like this kind of style. This nice tapered, rounded lugs. I like a real elegant look like that when it comes to a dress watch. So let's see. Let's see. L-seat, stay away from sit-ups. Bad on the back. I hear you. What about, David, what about those things that you grab with your hands and you roll out and you roll back in? You know, they got the roller on them. What about those for for your abs. Are those hard on your back too? I'll wait until you answer that question before I wrap up. I'm strongly considering a 36 millimeter yellow gold day-date. What's considered a good price? Which model, Yankee Doodle? Are you looking at an 18238? Or are you going for the 6-digit with the solid center links? That's going to make a difference. I would recommend, for best bang for the buck, an 18238 if you can find a one-owner box and papers, jumping up and down, excellent condition, no wear on the bracelet, just a jumping up and down, excellent condition watch, an 18238. I think you should be able to get that watch that I just described for around $14,000. Now, you'll find some for less, but I doubt it'll be in that kind of condition that I just described. And I think it's worth it to get one that's a one-owner, all box and papers, correct, not monkeyed with, not polished, all original, jumping up and down like new watch. Sweet potato for dinner. There you go. I love the sweet potatoes, and you can have them with. You can mix and match. You can have them with some rice, some whole grain rice, and some different things. Thanks, Craig. Off to work, says Tom. Calatrava 5107, 5127 have lugs like you would like. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, Brian. I mean, there are watches out there that are very elegant, very nice looking. I don't understand the people buying these ugly watches. There are a lot of watches out there that look fantastic, that are gorgeous on wrist, right? Why am I going to buy some ugly clunker? And especially spend a lot of money for it, like, for example, an offshore or a Nautilus or all these things, exposed screws on the top and all this crap, a square and like a freaking integrated bracelet. Are you kidding me? I'm going to spend all that money for that? I'd buy a really elegant Patek Philippe. You can buy one with a gold bracelet. That one we looked at on one of the shows some time back. There was a gorgeous one with an all gold bracelet. It was stunning. Thanks so much for your time. Craig, in the next live stream, please look at some of CRM Jewelers videos. Curious to see what you think of the watches shown there. If you want to send me a link to a video, send it to my name, CraigShipp@gmail.com. CraigShipp@gmail.com. I'm not like these trolls. I operate under my own name. So CraigShipp@gmail.com. And send me a link, and I'll take a look at the video, and I'll let you know what I think. Pet Shop Boy Craig in the next... Okay, we just talked about that. All right, I think we are done. I was waiting for the feedback on the roller thingy, but there is a time delay here, and so it takes a little time for that to come in there. So in the meantime, after viewing a close-up of your gold stunner, it looks like it needs a good polishing. I'm not going to polish anything. Trust me. No. No. That macro shot, yes, it shows like some hairline scratches or whatever you would call patina. It's out of focus right now because I moved it around. But, well, let me go focus it. Okay, so anyway, it has some patina, but it looks gorgeous on wrist. I mean, those little scratches that you get on any 18-karat gold watch, my Day-Date had them all over it, the little fine scratches. You don't see them in real life, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Never, and I say never, have your 18-karat gold watch polished. Don't do it. So, let's see. If you really want a high-end dive watch, then get yourself a Submariner or Seamaster. Don't bother with this Royal Oak offshoot. I agree. Or get yourself a Grand Seiko Stunner like this one. I'd rather have this than an offshore. Absolutely. All right, everybody, thanks for popping in. It was a fun show. I think we got a lot done. We got a lot done on the show tonight, and I'm going to get a nice little something to eat. You guys do the same, and enjoy your weekend. If we don't talk before then, I got a video shoot tomorrow, a little demonstration video I'm going to do that we're going to shoot with the iPhone and with some special gear and so forth for a client. And so I may or may not do a live stream tomorrow. Probably won't, but I might do one over the weekend sometime. So again, if I don't talk to you before then, Cowgirls Live, Monday nights at 10 p.m. Monday nights at 10 p.m. And let's see if we can complete this here. Thanks again for watching.